Why create Vic Innovate? Victoria Bank has made a decision to merge our 10 startups into one centralised business, Vic Innovate. There are many benefits for doing this, such as having control and oversight of product development, ownership of resultant products, greater support for startups, and efficiency. I believe that this merger will allow for better product development, giving us an advantage over our competitors, and will lead to increased productivity and profits. However, there are some anticipated challenges that come with this. Change is always a challenge, as staff need to adjust themselves to a new way of operating in a new environment. It is essential that we take a strategic and planned approach to ensure a smooth transition. By heavily involving the staff in the way we design Vic Innovate, we can allow staff to remain agile and work well together towards creating a shared vision, ensuring that innovation and excellence underpins all that we do. So what have we heard so far? Well, we've done some initial consultation with the staff, and this is what they've told us. The CEO of Vic Bank, she would like to see Vic Innovate grow, evolve and gain competitive advantage for Victoria Bank. Manager of one of the startups is more interested in looking forward to more support, particularly in relation to HR, recruitment and marketing, and not getting bogged down in bureaucracy. A staff member of one of the startups is concerned about career progression opportunities and their work-life balance. And they hope to be consulted in the merger so they can help give suggestions on how, because business could be set up in a way that meets their work and personal needs. And the manager from finance coming from Vic Bank has some great policies and procedures that they've developed over several years at Victoria Bank, and they believe that they'll be perfect for Vic Innovate. However, based on this initial consultation, we've identified a number of key challenges and risks, which we've categorised into the following themes: teams and groups, power and politics, culture and communications. Starting with teams and groups. There's a difference between groups and teams, with the latter generally having more structure and goal orientation. This is very important for Vic Innovate, as failing to recognise the dynamics of the startups may be lost in the transition, or benefits of amalgamating which may not be fully realised. Not all 10 startups are at the same stage in development, with different team structures to cater for the outcomes of the project. Katzenbach and Smith's 1993's team performance curve highlights the impact and effectiveness of a team with regards to the structure of the group or team. So focusing on each aspect, starting with working group, this is structured more for an ability to share information with generally no goals or accountability required. This would not apply to Vic Innovate, although we care that the team does not fall into this category. A pseudo team is no collective performance. This is a worst case scenario where the team does not take risks, possibly from a result of being disenfranchised. Would it also indicate a team has been formed but members have not bought into producing outcomes? A potential team, a big improvement from pseudo team on performance but still lacking high level aspects such as clear purpose and goals. And possibly here is to have some team members excelling with others not sharing the same enthusiasm. A real team, at minimum, would be desirable for Vic Innovate, as all members share a common purpose, goals and approach to work, clearly addressing the high level aspects that make a good team. And a high performance team where members excel at what they do and drive personal growth and development of each other, in effect driving the personal needs and work goals of each member. I do, however, raise a concern that a team is not properly formed that becomes dysfunctional and drops the performance down the curve. Communication, politics and culture all play an important part against this happening. Moving on to power and politics. Power and politics are part and parcel of life in the workplace. People will always have conflicting interests and will attempt to increase their personal power to progress these interests. This in itself is not a problem unless politics and competing interests begin to negatively impact Vic Innovate's agility, productivity, innovation and culture. Through my initial engagement, I've identified some risks that will be addressed with appropriate management actions. These include gatekeepers for funding and centralised services may seek control of scarce resources by implementing unequitable or bureaucratic processes. Control of decision processes, executive staff may seek control of decision-making processes which prevent startup managers making decisions on the things that impact their ability to succeed. And the startups could view each other as competition for centralised services and funding and avoid sharing valuable knowledge, information and technology that could increase collective success. It will be very important for me to foster empowerment of startup managers, encourage collaboration across all business areas, and prevent gatekeepers blocking agility and innovation of startups. Moving on to the culture. All organisations have a unique style of operating which contributes to its culture. The beliefs, ideologies, principles and values of an organisation form its culture. This provides a sense of direction to employees. Mergers can impact employees and affect the culture. The people management issues that I have identified include uncertainty about job security, they feel threatened, what job position they're doing, anxiety, decreased productivity, lack of motivation and culture clashes. A merger affects the culture by organisations having different goals and objectives. The management styles and handling of employees may differ. Policies and procedures are different. The nature of the business is different, in this case technology and finance. The attitudes, mentalities, interests, perception and thought processes of the employees affect the culture, and employees are resistant to the change. Accepting changes in the work culture is the toughest thing for any employee to do. Not all employees can and will happily adapt to organisational changes. Therefore, it's very important that the merger of the startups with VicBank is handled carefully in a planned and effective manner. Our employees are true assets of the organisation and they are the ones who can contribute towards the successful merger and functioning of Vic Innovate. Employees play an important role in deciding the culture of the workplace, and therefore it's highly important that the employees of the startups are consulted extensively prior to the merger. Communications. There are many communication challenges that Vic Innovate will consider within a communication strategy, bringing the many different startups successfully together. These include one-to-one communication and one-to-many. Ultimately, communication's main purpose in this work environment is to inform, instruct and persuade. There are many elements of communication that VicBank has to be aware of, including stakeholder and consumer communication, public image, and so on. However, in this instance, in managing the startups, we need to set the scope and look specifically at internal communication. Vic Innovate needs to be prepared due to the advances in communication, such as email, LinkedIn, and other social media, which have blurred the lines of internal and external communication. Communication is paramount for the merger to Vic Innovate, as implementing the organisation's strategy and culture is based on the platform that communications enables, specifically taking into account change and redesign. Moving on to the roadmap to success. I've designed a roadmap for success which involves extensive consultation of staff both prior, during and after the merger. This enables us to identify key risks and challenges early and design Vic Innovate so it can reach its full potential and evolve as quickly as possible. Now to discuss these stages in a bit more detail. Let's begin with stage 1, the lead up. In the 6 months leading up to the launch, it will be very important to involve staff in the planning for and design of Vic Innovate. This will increase staff buy-in to shared vision and objectives and ensure that our business design and centralised processes are fit for purpose. A number of management actions can occur prior to the merger to ensure a smooth transition and reduce the impact of people management issues that may arise. Startups will be accustomed to competing with each other for resources to progress their own interests, so it's important to foster a culture of working together towards the same objectives. Existing policies and procedures are being brought across from the VicBank will be reviewed in collaboration with all staff and altered where necessary. This will ensure that they allow for innovation and agility to meet the requirements of the startups. The CEO and leaders will define the cultural objectives in broad terms, setting a cultural integration agenda. There will be extensive consultation with employees from the startups, which will help influence the overall culture to emerge. Feedback will be sought from employees regarding the current and the future culture they desire through focus groups and surveys. A change management strategy will be developed in order to help guide the creation of the new organisational culture. We do expect resistance to this change and will understand and learn the most common reasons people are objecting to the change. Involving the employees in the merger and the development of the culture will create ownership of the change and make all the employees feel like they are involved. It is recommended that Vic Innovate initially implement a talent cell approach, which enables managers to communicate specific messages and address issues regarding change of process. This is a top-down strategy that will use corporate information and communication systems which have a broad reach and specific focus. Plan and construct effective teams with setting of clear goals and objectives that have member acceptance. And stage 1, year 1. So the first year, stage 2 includes the launch of Vic Innovate and the first 6 months of operations. During this time, I'll be focused on perfecting the foundations built in the lead up to the merger and tracking progress towards our vision and objectives. Change doesn't always go according to plan, so I'll be paying close attention to how our business design is working and looking for opportunities for improvement. All staff will be consulted quarterly to identify problems encountered in relation to progressing with Vic Innovate vision and objectives. Foster an environment where employees are discouraged to engage in negative power plays or political activities that progress their own interests. I will touch base with employees to assess and measure the cultural change, determine and address any continual or new people management issues, and develop strategies to reduce and eliminate undesired behaviours. And a short climate survey will be conducted to assess the current culture that's emerging and identify any further issues. Vic Innovate will adopt an underscore and explore strategy, which will enable management to continue to communicate effective strategy while enabling specific teams and units to continue to operate and develop within their current existing area. And finally, Stage 3. Stage 3 includes the time period between 6 to 12 months after the launch. Given that strong foundations will be established during Stages 1 and 2, Stage 3 will be focused on preparing Vic Innovate for future growth, both in terms of productions and profit. During this stage, the following actions will occur. Startups will be encouraged to share information with one another on their innovations. A community of practice forum will be created where startup managers meet monthly and present on key technology innovations that they are working on to find opportunities to collaborate and work towards increased profits. Assess the culture, although this time not just through surveys but seeking feedback from employees via focus groups and one-on-one interviews. The results from such feedback will help disclose if the culture has successfully changed. Vic Innovate will support all startup teams in managing their work groups and team cohesiveness through strengthening group communication. Group communication is specifically task-orientated and specific in relation to its goals and actions. Therefore, it's important to acknowledge that communication is complex in a group setting due to the fact it requires individuals to work together. Well, thank you everybody for your time today. I look forward to working with you so that we can successfully move forward to create Vic Innovate.